All right, guys, if you're watching this, I just want to let you know too, the sound on this is not going to be super fantastic, probably, because I forgot my microphone at home. I thought I had it with me, but I just looked around and I don't. So, I'm going to make this as quick as possible. All right, we're just doing a recap video today, just to go over just some recap of what we went over this past week in training. All right, I'm also going to introduce just a couple new things to you guys too, or a couple things that we talked about, but we didn't have time to go over in full. So let me get up a website real quick that we're going to use. Let's see. I guess we'll jump back on Renewal by Andersen just so we can go over what style of windows each one and whatnot. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start right from the beginning, sort of, what we went over in training, just to recap for you. So we start off with the script, of course. I mean, that's always the starting point when it comes to training. The script is usually the first thing that we go over. After we go over a new hire information, stuff like that. So we went over the script first. We talked a little bit about the way that we approach customers and whatnot. So the first thing I want to remind you guys of is pull this script up. The first thing that I want to remind you guys of going through the script here is, when we start off this introduction, the way that we do it is important. We obviously have a lot of different kinds of events that we do. I mean, they really break down to two different kinds, but we have a lot of different places that we go to, a lot of different places, locations that we visit. So you're going to have different approaches at different places that you go to. There's really two main ones, though, right? We have the donation locations, and then we have the other locations like Ace Hardware, places like that. Okay. Random little events and whatnot, too. Now, let's say you go to a place that's super duper busy, your approach may change. I mean, you're not going to be able to target and identify people individually as much. Now, let's say you're at a place like an Ace Hardware, or some other kind of hardware store, or a place that's not a donation location, that's not super packed, like a flea market, Antique Depot, places like that. Down here in Mechanicsburg, a Morningstar Market would be a good example. The way that you're going to want to approach people is, hey, you walk up to them. You want to sort of cut the people off, not in a negative way. Like if the person's coming, you don't want to just stand in front of them like this or not like that. But you do want to, get out into the hallway, wherever we're at, identify the person, sort of point out, sir, introduce yourself like this. Sir, real quick, just grab them, okay? And then start the conversation from there. Do it when they're, a few feet away from you too. You want to have enough distance where that person can process that you're talking to them. If you wait till they're walking by you, then you're going to be talking to someone's back. That's the way that it will work. So when they're walking up, you want to stop them, sir. Okay. Get their attention. All right. And then here's the key point right here. Whenever you can do that individually, when you're talking to someone individually like that, good morning, sir. I just want to let you know about some of the local charities that we've been working with. We've donated over 250,000 pounds of food to local central Pennsylvania food banks since the start of 2020. The way that you can help us by signing up for our $30,000 window giveaway. What's your name? A couple important points there to remember. Okay, number one, this is unique to us. Most places that are out at locations doing this kind of stuff, talking to people, they can't say this. I mean, I guess they can, but they'd be lying if they said this. Most places are not going to work with local food banks to solicit donations and then bring those donations to the respective places. Most people can't say they're doing that, right? So that is a benefit, a social benefit that we have when we're talking to the customer. So it's very, very important that we point that out, through that conversation, that we have that conversation. Okay. It is a strength that most places don't carry with them. Okay. So the second thing to note too is you can put in a specific local charity, especially if you're in a certain place. So if you're in Altoona, it makes sense to say we've donated over 250,000 pounds of food to local central Pennsylvania food banks, such as the Altoona Food Bank, or for example, the Altoona Food Bank, okay, including the Altoona Food Bank since the start of 2020. And finally, when you lay out the way you can help is by signing up for our $30,000 window giveaway. What's your name? The whole point is to get right to what's your name. Don't just let it sit there. Don't say, are you interested? Don't say, is this something that you want to do? You're never going to see success if you do that. You're giving them choices at that point. And look at the customers, then they're not gonna, it's not about them not, they have every right to say no, I don't want to do that. Of course they do. But it's different than inviting them to say no. When you're inviting the objection, when you're inviting the no, your failure rate is going to be significantly higher. I mean, you will fail more times than not if that's what you do. If that's the avenue that you take, you will fail more times than not. It will be a very difficult time for you. Okay. So jump right into what's your name. So again, good morning, sir. I just wanted to let you know about some of the local charities that we've been working with. We've donated over 250,000 pounds of food to local central Pennsylvania food banks, such as, for example, the Altoona Food Bank since the start of 2020. The way that you can help is by signing up for our $30,000 window giveaway. You can even say by signing up for our free $30,000 window giveaway. What's your name? And then just jump right into what's your name. Make sense? Okay, great. All right. Hold on 1 second. Guys are on a roll out there. I just want to tell them great job. That's funny. The same last name as our install manager, the customer he has. So, all right. So, moving on from there. Okay. Well, before we move on from there, just to go over the other possibilities. If you are at a place like that, like a non-donation location that is busier, where you have a lot of people coming back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes it's tough to identify a person and have the conversation with that person while it's super busy. Okay. So I still think the best thing that you can do is try to identify individuals and start the conversation with them. However, if you find yourself just getting bogged down, it's too crazy, you can't figure that part out, then the next go-to would be, sir, we're having a free $30,000 window makeover. Just takes a second. What's your name? Sir, enter to win our $30,000 window makeover. It just takes a second. What's your name? Okay. Sir, have you heard about our $30,000 window makeover? Sir, how old are your windows? Okay, great. Jump in for our $30,000 window makeover. Any tagline like that would be your go-to. Identify the person, speak quickly to them. And again, the same thing still exists where you want to make sure that you're doing this before they are crossing your path. So if I'm at a busy location, I want to sort of pivot myself where I'm talking to a side of people. I don't want to be standing like this, pitching to people right here. I want to be here. I want to be here. I want to be talking to people as they go. Okay. It makes more sense. It makes for a cleaner conversation, and you're going to get into more conversations with people. Okay. All right. And again, make sure it ends with what's your name, not are you interested or whatever. Okay. All right. And for the big one, the donation location, something that we didn't go over as much. It's a little bit more straightforward. It is a little bit easier to get these people in, but I guess your focus with donation locations pivots to making sure that you're setting a quality lead, because there are a lot of people. The way that we roll this out to people, it is relatively easy to get them interested in at least taking a look at getting into the contest. Okay. So the way that would work is on the way into a donation location, when the people are walking in, that's when we want to first make contact with the people. Now, to do this, again, I just want to remind you, we want to be super duper friendly. Okay. Try to target those people as they're walking up. Again, you don't want to be blocking up a door at a store. That is bad optics 101. I've seen that from way too many people where we're at a grocery store, and because we're waiting to talk to the people, and we're not talking to them a little bit farther away from the door, there's a line getting clogged up at the door. People that own the store absolutely abhor that. They cannot stand that. And it would drive me crazy too. If I'm a customer in that line and it's cold and I'm going, what the hell, man? I just want to get through and shop for my food. What are you doing? Right. So to avoid that issue, try to get out a little bit farther and talk to them a little bit farther. Maybe it's a relatively small relatively small parking lot. There's not as many people coming back and forth, and you can get out of the into the parking lot a little bit, not literally into parking spots and stuff like that, but you can meet people and sort of walk with them as they're walking. Maybe there's a cart location over here where they grab carts, and you can meet people over there, have the conversation with them over there before they walk in. Something like that, though, is going to go a long way for you. Either way, whatever you have to do, make contact with every single person. Okay. When they're coming in, make sure that you're obviously extremely kind. 1 second again. All right. So make sure you're extremely kind, make sure you're extremely open. You identify this person and you say, hey, I just want to let you know, okay, I don't love the how you doing because it gives people time to go, nope, not interested in Windows. Okay. And then you have to remind them, no, we're not here about Windows, so on and so forth. Okay. So, and by the way, that's what I would do. If someone says, nope, not interested in Windows. No, sir, we're just doing a food drive. Okay. So we're just doing a donation drive. Okay. Something like that. Okay. That shouldn't happen as frequently now. Sorry about that. So I like to start off with, sorry, I just want to let you know about a charity that we're working with. I'm sorry, I'm doing the old one. Okay. So I just want to let you know we've recently teamed up with the Caring Cupboard, whatever donation location I'm doing, Bethesda Mission, okay, to collect canned goods, non-perishable items. If you could grab anything at all, one can would be perfect. You just bring it right back out to us, and it's much, much appreciated. Okay, just like that. Okay, very simple, very thankful to them. Okay, and remind them it's not a huge commitment. They don't have to get an entire cart full of stuff. Okay, one can is good. All right, anything that they can do is good. All right, you just remind them of that. So again, they're walking up. Okay, introduce yourself. Hey, sir, I just want to let you know we're doing a canned food drive today for the Bethesda Mission, sir. Any canned good or non-perishable item will be much appreciated. I mean, even if you just can grab one, it'd be so helpful. You just bring it right back out to us. Okay, so a couple of things there. Number one, minimize their commitment. Okay, make it sound like a very important thing because it is a very important thing. Okay, make sure that you cite the name of the donation location that we're working with. All right, and make sure that you tell them bring it right back out to us. Bring it right back out to us. You need to give them a directive, or else you're going to have a tougher time getting them to follow what you're asking them to do. Okay, and that's just fact. That's the way that it works. All right. I'm gonna have to pause for a second in a second, okay? We're gonna go through this next part first. All right, so then you dive into getting the information, okay? So what's your name? Now, very important thing to remember, okay, it's very simple. If they give you a first name, then ask them for the last name too. So what's your name? Okay, great, and your last name. All right, great, and what's your address, Mr. Jones? Okay, get their full address, including the zip code. All right, and we're gonna pause here for 1 second because I just gotta go downstairs and grab some food real quick. So give me 1 second. All right, I'll be right back. All right, again, if you're watching this, I apologize. That was very silly. They had a real big trouble finding the location. So I don't know how the dude was standing right outside, but it is what it is. So we'll get started here again. So going through the getting the rest of the information. So then we get down to the phone number. Okay. So obtaining two phone numbers is very important. Of course, the cell phone is most important. All right. There's a couple core things that you do not want to do. Number one, you do not want to ask for the best phone number. Okay. Don't say what is the best number to reach you at, because that's the only phone number you're going to obtain. Okay. Not to mention, they'll probably give you the best phone number for telemarketers, the number that they give that they don't answer. That's typically the way that it works out. Okay. So just remember that the best thing that you can do is don't ask for the best number at all. Okay. Just ask for either the phone number or ask for the cell phone number. If you want the cell phone number first, just ask for the cell phone number. I gotta actually change this up here. But the way that we used to do it is we say, okay, what's your phone number? Okay, and your cell. All right. You can reverse that. Okay, what's your cell phone number? Okay, and your home phone. Now, a lot of people are going to say, I don't have a home phone. Okay. Okay, great. Well, we do need a second form of contact. What's the best number to reach out? Would you say a work number or a spouse's phone number, something like that? Okay, do it like that. Okay, don't just go to the email right away. Try to get a second phone number. Most people have, even if they personally don't have two phone numbers, most people have at least two contacts in their household. Okay, most people do. All right, so a lot of this has to do with just remind them, look, we need to get in contact with them about this appointment. And so let's say, for example, none of that works out. They only have one phone number. Either way, want to grab the email, but the email becomes even more important at that point. So make sure you don't forget to get the email address down too. I've seen people forget that. Okay, so again, what's your name? All right, and your last name? Thank you, Mr. Jones. What's your address? All right, great. And your cell number? All right, what's your home phone number? I don't have one. Okay, so we do need two forms of contact to make sure we can get a hold of you. Would that be a spouse's number, work phone number? No, I don't have any of that. Okay, and what's your email address? Okay, well, you can say an email address would work out, sir. What's an email address? Okay. All right, then we get into the problems with the Windows conversation. All right, and remember what we talked about too. Okay, there's a couple really important terms here. I think that if I was to eliminate if I was to point to the ones that you want to go through first, the order would be this last one, ironically, first. Okay, then this one right here would be second. Okay. And the reason why is just because you're going to get the difference between, let's say, canvassing and events is you're going to get some people that give you window problems with events. With canvassing, you have to pull them out of people. You have to show people what they're experiencing. You have to say, hey, look, I see this. When I was walking up, I did notice this. I did notice that. Okay. With events, because you're talking about a giveaway, it is a little bit easier to get the customer to admit to certain problems. Okay. So if I say to the person, so if you were to win the $30,000, what would you focus on first, your windows or your doors? Okay. Or what would you focus on first if you won the $30,000, your windows or doors? Okay. But ask that question there. Okay. Then when that person answers that question, it doesn't really matter what they answer. The next thing I'd say is, well, what's the most annoying thing about your windows or your doors? Okay. Whatever one they said. So if they said doors, okay, and what's the most annoying thing about your doors? Okay. Now, realistically, they're probably going to give you one problem that is just a bit of an annoying. Most people will say drafts. Okay. Some people will say hard to open and close. Some people will have some other answers, but I bet you that a good, overwhelming majority of them will give you the answer of drafts or not energy efficient. Okay. They're just not that good anymore. That's what people will say. Some people will say they're ugly. They don't like the color. Some people will say that they're hard to open and close. Other people might cite condensation, but most people are going to say drafts. Okay. And then there's some other questions that you can ask. The next question I would probably ask is, okay, and how old are the windows? Okay, or door? And I might ask a question like, how long have you lived in the house too? Again, it gives you, the reason why I might ask that is because it gives you relevant information to the appointment. It also is good for starting conversation too. Oh, I just moved in not that long ago. Congratulations on the new home. It's beautiful. I'm sure it's beautiful, right? Something like that. Okay, you just start the conversation. Are they wood or vinyl? That's going to give you the relevant information to continue the conversation. but I would do them in that order. Okay. All right. Now let's say that the customer told you that the windows are drafty. Again, most customers are going to tell you that. What you want to do now is you want to focus on getting the problems that surround those drafts. You know, why would those windows be drafty? What are the problems can you pull out of the customer at that point? And that's not difficult to do. Okay. It's not difficult to do at all. You just have to know how to backpedal into other problems. So what you might say is, well, look, obviously there's going to be a reason why your windows are drafty. Most vinyl windows start to get drafty because of like warping in the windows, for example. So how many windows do you have that are hard to open and close? They might say none. They all open and close fine. Well, that's great. That at least you're not experiencing that problem. Another sign of warping, sir, will be condensation and fog in the glass. How many windows do you have like that? Okay. No, none. I don't see any problems like that. Okay. All right, sir. It could be bad installation too. I mean, any number of problems could cause drafts, sir. Every vinyl window that I've seen that's 10 years old will start to experience issues with like mold growth, for example. So you might look at it, it might look like it's perpetually dirty or something like that. There's some mold or dirt in the sill of the windows. How many windows do you have like that? It always seems like there's like dirt that's stuck there in the sill of the windows. Be a little bit more descriptive to the customer like that. All right. I don't know. I got a couple that are like that. You might even tell them without asking them something like that because you've just gotten them. They said no to a couple of the problems. So you might say, well, look, a couple of problems that I know happen with every vinyl window. After they reach a certain age, they start to grow mold. Okay. So I'm sure you're experiencing issues like that. And a lot of times that water can leak into the sill of the window too, which of course, definitely something that you want to check out, something like that to the customer. Then you transition to the value of the business. I'm all for going after as many problems as you possibly can. I think that's great. Fantastic. Go ahead, do that. What I would say is this is don't spend a million years in that conversation. You're just going to make the customer angry. Okay. It's definitely a conversation that you want to have. You definitely want to push it. You want to get a number of problems, but you don't need to be in that conversation for 10 minutes. Okay. Get a couple problems. If the customer, especially, is being agreeable and they seem like they're interested, maybe they just don't know all the problems or whatever, then you can ease off a little bit, move into the next part of the script. Okay. The next part, we consider the value of the visit or the close. Okay. Now, the strength of this close, there's a couple different strengths to this close. Okay. The first strength of this close is that you're bringing up the problems again. You're bringing up the problems again. You're giving us a reason to come out there. Okay. We're going to check out these problems with the person. Okay. The second benefit of the close, the second strength of the close is we're diminishing their commitment to buy. Okay. Look, we're just going to go through these different things. We're going to show you the price quote. We're going to leave you with a free price quote for whether or not you win the $30,000 window makeover. Okay. And then the next strength of the close is that we're going to pivot directly into the hard close, going right for the appointment. Okay. Okay, Mr. Jones, there are a number of reasons why those drafts will start to form in your vinyl windows. Okay, and this is where, even if, by the way, even if the customer doesn't give you a ton of problems, this is where there's strength in not having a ton of problems, right? Remember, okay, the way that we're pitching this customer, this is a great pitch point for the customer. Well, look, we're going to come out and check to see what's wrong with them. Obviously, you're having some issues, but you don't know where they're coming from. We're going to check to see what's wrong with them. Okay, that's your entire pitch. So, Mr. Jones, there are a number of different reasons why drafts will start to form in vinyl windows. What I do now is have one of our foremen stop up so they can check your windows to see where and what problems might exist. We'll show you the difference in our window. We'll show you how it's installed, and we'll leave you with a free price quote so you have the information set aside for regardless of whether or not you win that $30,000 window makeover. Now, we have appointment times available as early as tomorrow afternoon and evening. What works best for you? Okay. You want to go for the next day appointment. Okay. A number of things could happen there. All right. We're going to go over rebuttals after, so we're not going to talk much about that. But a number of things can happen there. The majority of what's going to happen there is the customer will either say not interested, can't afford it, or they'll say, yes, typically evenings work best. Okay. Or I don't think tomorrow will work out well, but we could probably do something next week. Okay. One of those things is going to be set. Okay. Let's say that the customer says something like, well, I don't know about tomorrow, but maybe next week or something like that. Okay. Great, fine. All right, we'll just take a note of that. All right, we're not going to sit there and barter times with them right now. We'll just say, okay, well, we'll take a note of that. All right. If they say that they can do tomorrow night, all right, great. I'll mark that down for you now before I go, and then you go into the next part. Okay. All right, now we're getting into the warm down. This is where we tell the customer what we need from them. Okay. Mr. Jones, I appreciate your patience. We're almost done here. This, again, is a completely free service. The only thing that we ask to give you the proper service you deserve when we visit, we set aside we set aside at least 90 minutes, whether we need it or not. Fair enough? Okay. I know I changed a couple words there. It says at least 90 minutes to answer your questions. Is that fair? All right. Either way is fine. Look, the point is at least 90 minutes. The key words here is at least in 90 minutes. Okay. And then make sure you get that commitment. One mistake that people make is they blow through that part and go into the next part without getting any kind of commitment or anything like that. Okay. So very, very important. Okay. Lastly, we need to meet with all owners of the property, like a spouse, a family member, or partner. So who would that be? Okay, great. And what's their name? Okay, do evenings work for Mrs. Jones too? Great, we have an appointment and we'll go for setting the appointment there. Okay. All right, so a couple things to remember here. All right, it's not optional. They need to have, if there is a second decision maker or property owner in that home, they absolutely need to have that person there. Okay. And we need to make sure that we get their information. Okay, make sure you get their name. All right. So now if you're wondering who doesn't need to be there and who does need to be there, like the general barometer is like if they include the person if they say my girlfriend, then she needs to be there, because why would they say it? If you ask this question to me and it was just some girl that I just met or something like that, I'm not going to say, yeah, it would be my girlfriend Kim. Okay. If I say her name, I've made her important or him important. Okay. All right. So what's their name? Do evenings work for Mrs. Jones too? All right. Now we're getting into setting the appointment. Now we're going to go through, later on this week or whatever, a different way to set these appointments or whatever. We're not really going to be setting and much past next day appointments. Like we're going to let the call center deal with that. Okay. That's going to be a separate video. I'll go through it a little bit here too, because it does not make sense for me to go through this here and then change the system on you guys in less than 24 hours. So the new system will actually be much easier than this. Okay. So the way the new system will work is once we get down to this part, okay, we can still ask a question like this evening's work good for Mrs. Jones too. Okay. But what we're going to say is we're going to say, okay, great. I'm just going to get this information over to a confirmer. It will just take a second. And then we pull out our phones. Okay. So you can say, I will just call to get the information to a confirmer. So and so. Okay. You'll call the call center. Number is 717-591-4900. Okay. You'll say, hey, this is John Smith. I'm working here at, Leesport Market. And I'm here with Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Kim Jones. Now, Kim Jones and her husband, John, own a home at 123 Main Street. Okay, we got to make sure that we're going relatively slow too. They're writing this down. 123 Main Street. The phone number here, and that's in Mechanicsburg 17055. Okay. And the phone number here is 717-224-2424. Cell phone number is 717-225-2525. Okay. Email is jsmith@123.com. Okay, great. Now they have 10 windows that are 20 years old that we're going to come look at. All right. They don't want to purchase anything right now, but they want the quote locked in for 1 full year. Okay. Those windows are drafty, hard to open and close, and not energy efficient. All right. All right, great. I'll let them know that you're going to contact them in a second here. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Okay. All right. When you hang up the phone with them, the call center is going to call them in just a minute. Okay. They're going to enter that information. It will take less than a minute. Then they're going to call that customer while they're still right there with you to set up the date and time. All right. If you have information like evenings work best, then you can tell the call center that as well. Great. Now, before that customer goes, okay, before the call center calls them, we're going to go through our last impression, okay? So we got a couple things to give that customer, right? The way it's going to work, so we'll go, Mr. Jones, before you go, I just want you to understand we care about keeping you happy and knowledgeable about your home. If you don't win the $30,000 window makeover, we have some fantastic promotions that you can ask our foreman about, such as right now it's like buy one, get one 40% off. And the most important thing probably would be the no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 full months. Okay, now I also want to give you something, and this is where something that we just added here not that long ago. And lastly, I want to give you something. I have this $500 gift card that I think could eventually help you with your project. Just remember to, oh no, we'll skip that. Just remember to, because I was going to do something different. Okay, so help you with your project. That'll be good like that. Yep, to help you with the project. Maybe we only have these here at certain events in honor of the charities we've been working with. Good. All right. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the event, or the rest of your day, depending on where you're at. Okay. All right. Now, not much that should change there for a donation location either. Not much that should change at all. All right. So that's pretty much it. Look, I know I just added a little bit there on at the end because we did change things up a little bit. We do have those $500 gift cards, which I did let you guys know about. All right. But by this time, the call center now should be calling them to schedule that appointment. Now, you might be like, well, man, are some of my leads gonna fall off because now the call center is calling? We're adding another layer to this. They won't. Okay, they're going to be more solid appointments because the call center is calling them right there. They can get confirmed right there. You're not going to have to deal with the customer sitting there waiting for 10 minutes. So it will be beneficial. I promise you that. Okay, and we'll keep monitoring the systems, of course. That's what we always do whenever we start something new, just to make sure that it's going effectively and it's efficient. Okay. All right, we're going to go through everything else. I'm just going to eat quick. We'll take a quick break. Okay. And then we'll go through just a couple other things. My guess is this video will be probably another half hour or so of content. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that. Ate as quick as I possibly could. So I just want to, we've gone through the script now. Okay, so we get that. Now I'm going to make a script study video coming up here soon too, on the same YouTube channel. Okay. All right. So now I want to go through some of the rebuttals. Okay. We talked about just learning 5 or so rebuttals so far. So we're just going to talk about those couple rebuttals briefly, and then we're going to go into some of the things that we don't do. Okay. The first rebuttal here, these two rebuttals here are events rebuttals. Okay. The first one says only interested in sweep or not interested. They're only going to hear only interested in sweepstakes so much. Like it will manifest itself in look, I'll just sign up for your contest, or look, I'm probably not going to be interested. Just set me up for your contest. Okay. Something like that. That would be absolutely certain. Of course, when you're doing this, will give us the information necessary to work on your home. But even if you don't, this quote's locked in for a full year. So you have the information set aside for when you are ready. Now, schedule is flexible. We can visit during the day, mornings, and mornings, afternoons, and evenings. What typically works better for you? Okay. So again, that last sentence there is going back into the script. So I mean, you could that could manifest itself in different ways too, based on where you're at in the script. If you happen to get a little bit farther along, let's say, and you got down to like the spouse's information, the guy said, look, I just want to do the contest. Then that would come back with so what would be your wife's name then, or so really I just need your wife's name, something like that. All right. The second rebuttal, Mr. Jones, even if you're not ready now, this is the best time to get a quote on your windows, because our company has had to adapt to the current environment. Okay. And you can mention, if you want to, COVID and the fact that it's wintertime. Okay. So we've had to adapt to the current environment, being with COVID and with the fact that it's wintertime. So right now we are offering buy one, get one 40% off. We do have great financing promotions, such as no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 full months. So whether you win or not, you have the information for the future. And then you go forward again back into your script from there. Now, here's where people make mistakes with this rebuttal. I hear people do this rebuttal. They do it as a number one rebuttal. This should not be a number one rebuttal. This is a number 2 or number 3 rebuttal all the time. Okay, because you're going over promotions. All right. So you don't want to go over promotions as your first rebuttal to a customer's objection. It does not make sense to do that. But I hear people do that all the time. That's something that you definitely want to avoid. Okay. This should be your second or third rebuttal. Again, number 2 problem that I hear is I hear people, they kind of know this rebuttal, but they don't fully know this rebuttal. Dude, it's not going to sound good unless you fully know it. You can't go, well, so if you're not ready now, then this, you can still get a quote on the windows because it's the best time to. We are having some promotions. So even if you win or not, you have the information. You can't do that and expect it to be successful. You have to use the actual rebuttal itself. Mr. Jones, again, confidently, Mr. Jones, even if you're not ready now, this is the best time to get a quote on your windows, because our company's had to adapt to the current environment with COVID, with it being wintertime. Right now, we're offering a buy one, get one 40% off, for example, and no money down, no interest, no payments, 12 full months. So whether you win or not, you have the information for the future. Okay. Simple. Okay. Then we're going to get down here. Okay. This should be your number one rebuttal in most scenarios. If you get a basic not interested, okay. Look, I'm just not going to do this right now. I'm not interested. I got other things to do first. Okay, this is essentially the rebuttal that you're going to use. It's going to be changed slightly, and I'm going to go through the canvassing scripting here and slightly change it to fit events. But we can do this while we're on the phone or on the Zoom right now. So it says, well, I didn't expect to catch you on the day that you were ready to replace your windows. Okay, what I would change that to, very simple, is, well, sir, of course, you didn't expect to see me here today. Okay, very simple. Well, sir, of course, you didn't expect to see me here today. That's why we locked the quote in good for 1 full year. So that way, when you already have the information set aside. Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves though, because we can come out to visit you mornings, afternoons, evening, what works best for you. Okay. All right. Sir, of course, you didn't expect to see me here at the grocery store today. But we are getting ahead of ourselves because the quote is locked in for 1 full year. So that way, when you're ready, you have the information set aside. All right. Very simple and to the point. Okay. This is another rebuttal that you can use. Mr. Jones, of course, if you were going to install the Windows today, you would have called us. That's why it's important that we get the information in your hands now, though. After all, it's eventually something you're going to have to do. And again, the quote's locked in for 1 full year, sir. So whether you decide to do it now or not, you have the information locked in. Okay, something like that. Set aside. All right. Get back to the script. Very simple. All right. Okay, can't afford it. Can't afford it. Number one, this one right here is the one that we're going to go over. Very few of our customers have money put aside for new windows, so I can't afford this right now. Again, the first rebuttal that I'm doing, even for can't afford it, would probably be this right here. Well, of course, you didn't expect to see me here at the store today, sir. Okay. The second rebuttal that I'm probably going to do is right here. Well, very few of our customers have money put aside for new windows. That's why we have special programs to make this more affordable. But sir, we're getting ahead of ourselves because again, that quote is locked in for a full year. So when you're ready, you have the information set aside. Okay. And then I go into my promo rebuttal right here. Okay. As my third rebuttal. All right. So we'll get more into rebuttals, in the beginning of next week. But just to put out that these are the rebuttals that you're going to want to be studying, the rebuttals that you're going to want to get down. Okay. All right. Let's make a list of things that we don't do. Okay. So let me pull this sheet up here. Okay. So number one, rental properties. Okay. I mean, I guess technically we can come out for like a landlord or something like that, but look, we prefer not to because it's not the chances that they're going to want to put expensive windows or high quality windows into their rental property is not significant. I mean, think about it. If you own a rental property, okay, if you own a rental property and you are renting that out to someone leasing, do you want to put the highest quality windows in the country into that home? Usually, probably not. So maybe, usually, probably not. If it's your family member, fine. Probably even still, though, you're going to want to put something a little bit less expensive and a little bit less quality in there. Okay. But if it's a landlord requesting for us to come out there to give them a quote, then technically we can. That's okay. Definitely no renters. No renters. If you're renting a property, you're not putting a windows like this into your rental property unless you're an insane person. Nope, your mental health would have to be off to put new windows in your landlord's house. Okay. All right. Mobile homes, trailers. Okay. I don't know where this funny business comes about. We can do them if they have a foundation or something like that. We don't do them if they have a foundation. We don't do them at all. The walls are too thin. It's just not work that we can do. Very simple. Very simple. There's no way that we can. We can do modular homes. Okay, we cannot do mobile homes or trailers. Basement, hoppers, or windows in cement. Okay, what that means is that if you have basement windows that are encased in cement, there's no wood frame around them, we cannot do them. Okay, if the person says I have basement windows, ask them what type of windows they are, ask them what they look like. Okay, if they're encased in the cement, then we cannot do them. All right. Okay. So only garages and non-heated or cooled areas. Now, what I mean by that is this: is we can obviously do garage windows the same as the rest of the house. What I mean is if the person just wants to get their garage windows done, the reason for that is because they've done all the other windows already, and that's all they have left to do. If they didn't want to put a $200 window into their garage, and that's why they didn't do them, why would they want to put one of our more expensive windows in their garage? If anything, they want our windows in the house and the other windows in the garage. So again, don't tell people we can't do garages or sunrooms or whatever. We can. We're just not only going to come out for the garage. One parties. We don't do one parties. We know that. We don't set up one party appointments where the second person is not there. Okay, the second person has to be there if there's two parties that live in the house, not two parties involved with the decision, two parties that live in the house. Okay. All right. We don't do appointments with kids of customers. And this, ironically, this has come up numerous times. We don't set up an appointment with an 18-year-old for their parents. Doesn't work out, never works out. Just don't do it. Skylights. We don't do skylights on top of the house. Okay. We just don't do them. Right. We don't do storm doors or storm windows. Now, we can do a back door, we can do a front door. We don't do storm doors. Now, storm door is like a screen door on like the back door, like the sliding door or the front door. We don't just do those. Okay, we're not doing that. We don't do storm windows, the metal casings that go over the windows. Okay, we do the full replacement of these products and so on and so forth. Okay, and finally, we don't. We don't do repairs. Okay, we do not repair other people's windows. That's not what we do. Okay, we do replacement of windows. We do not do repairs. And I'll add to that too. No new construction. If someone is building, wow. No new construction. If someone is building a house, we can't go out there and then plan their building process with them and then wait for them to build a house and then go out and install the windows. Not how it works. If it's an existing building that happens to have no windows, then fine, we can do that, but they have to have the building built first. Okay. And we install. Okay. We don't wholesale to contractors. We don't sell to individuals that want to install themselves. We do the installation. Okay. Most people don't want to do their installation, which is great because we cannot do it. We cannot work with them on it. They cannot, I've had customers before ask me if they can work with the installers. No. That would be a huge liability to our company. No, we do the full installation of the windows. Okay. All right. So these are the don'ts. Okay. So look, here's what I'm trying to do with this training here. I think it's important that you understand my intent and what I want you to use this for. Okay. I know there's large breaks in the middle of this and stuff like that. This is just like sort of a recap on some of the stuff that we went over. I'm going to make another video with recap on some other stuff, window problems and stuff like that. Okay. It's just for your reference. If you need to look back just to go, okay, what did we go over then? Here or there, whatever. I'm going to do a script study video in a minute. That will be up too. Okay. And then we'll get back to, again, today's been a little bit crazy. Whenever I can have more time, exhausted, whenever I can have more time to go in and make a video tonight, I'm going to make a full recap video that's a little bit more clean and clear than this with actual guides. I'm going to send you guys out the notes too, so you have the notes to that. Okay. So thank